You know, there's this silent system, an invisible architecture built into our digital world, and it's designed to do just one thing: slowly, quietly, and constantly drain your bank account. And the crazy part? It's not a glitch, it's a feature. And chances are, you're already caught in its web and you don't even know it. Okay, let's get into this. We're about to pull back the curtain on the multi-billion-dollar business of keeping you subscribed.
I mean, does this sound familiar? That feeling, that frustration of clicking through endless menus, hunting for an unsubscribe button that seems to have just vanished. You swear you canceled, but then another charge pops up on your statement. This isn't just you getting annoyed, it's a shared, global experience, and believe me, it is meticulously engineered.
No, seriously, I want you to take a second and really think about it. Just tally it up in your head. All the streaming services, the news sites, those productivity apps, that free trial you totally forgot about. Go on, get a number. What you land on? 30 bucks? 50? Maybe 100? Okay, hold that number in your mind. And that's not just a wild guess. A 2021 study by C+R Research found that the average person underestimates their monthly subscription spending by a factor of 3. We think we're spending around $80, but the cold, hard reality is closer to $240. And this huge gap between what we think we pay and what we actually pay, well, that's not an accident. It's the very foundation of a business model that gets rich off of our inattention.
So how do they do it? This isn't just a case of bad customer service. This is about intentional design. It's actually a field of study, a deliberate strategy with a name that sounds just as sinister as its purpose. We're now entering the world of dark patterns.
Just look at the language on this slide. Words like coercing, steering, deceiving. This stuff isn't about making a product look good or work better. No, it's about psychological manipulation that's baked right into the code of the websites and apps we use every single day. It's about turning our own brain's shortcuts against us.
This quote from the 𝐒𝐚𝐦 Law Journal, it just nails it. It reminds me of that classic Eagles song, right? Today's digital world has created its own places you can never leave. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. The digital front door is wide open. They're waving you in with free trials and one-click sign-ups. But the exit? Oh, the exit is hidden down a maze of confusing hallways, and it's all designed to make you just give up and keep paying. This right here is the perfect illustration of the most common dark pattern, what designers actually call the roach motel. You know, it's easy to get in, but it's almost impossible to get out. For some of these huge services, signing up is a single click, but canceling, that can take up to 6 clicks, pushing you through all these retention offers, confusing questions, hidden menus. Every single extra step is another wall, built specifically to wear you down.
And look, this isn't some niche little problem. A massive international investigation in 2024 by the ICPN looked at over 600 subscription services. And what did they find? A staggering 75% of them used at least one dark pattern. And get this, 2/3 of them used multiple tricks at the same time. This is the industry standard, not the exception.
Okay, so that's what these companies are doing. But the really important question is, why does it work so darn well? And to understand that, we've got to look inside our own heads. Because this isn't just about tricky website design. It's about hijacking the fundamental wiring of the human brain.
See, companies exploit these well-known cognitive biases we all have. Inertia is the big one. They're betting that the hassle of canceling is just a little bit greater than the pain of that small monthly fee. They use loss aversion with those pop-ups that scream about all the amazing benefits you're about to lose forever if you leave. Status quo bias just means we tend to stick with the default, and what's the default? It's always auto-renew. And finally, reduce salience. When a payment is automated, we stop seeing it. The pain of paying just disappears. And so does our awareness.
And that out of sight, out of mind thing? Well, it has consequences that go way beyond a forgotten streaming account. It affects some of the most basic bills we pay, and the results are pretty startling for both our wallets and for the planet.
Just look at this. This is wild. Research from Duke University found that when people switch their utility bills to autopay, their consumption actually goes up. Residential electricity use jumps by 4 to 6%. For businesses, 8%. Just by not seeing the bill every month, we become less aware of the cost, so we use more. The convenience of autopay is literally costing us money and, yeah, increasing our carbon footprint.
So we know the tactics, we know the psychology. Now we get to the most important question: why? And the answer, of course, is money. But the sheer scale of the financial incentive to keep you trapped, it is truly shocking. This is what we're calling the inertia gold rush.
Okay, let this one sink in for a second. This data shows where the money comes from in mobile apps. Less than 4% of all apps out there use a subscription model.
Yet that tiny, tiny slice accounts for over 45% of all the money made. The subscription model isn't just profitable, it's disproportionately, unbelievably lucrative.
So here's the bottom line. The entire financial structure of this multi-billion-dollar industry is built on one simple bet. The bet that you will sign up and then do absolutely nothing. They are monetizing your forgetfulness, your busyness, your simple human tendency to say, I'll do it tomorrow.
So researchers at Stanford, they wanted to put a number on this. They studied consumer behavior across a bunch of popular subscription services to figure out exactly how much all these little frictions, the extra clicks, the confusing menus, the impossible to find buttons, were actually worth. And the answer is staggering.
100%. On average, these tactics literally double a company's revenue compared to a system where you could just cancel easily. Let me say that again, double. When you see that number, it all makes sense, right? You suddenly understand why that unsubscribe button is so hard to find. It is, quite simply, the most profitable button on their entire website.
But, the story doesn't end there. As the scale of this manipulation has become crystal clear, regulators have started to wake up. And right now, a battle is being fought in courtrooms and government agencies all over the world. A war over your right to easily click cancel.
The tide is definitely starting to turn. It started with investigations in the UK, but now the US Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, is taking some really aggressive action. They've gone after huge household names, Match.com for its confusing offers, Chegg for making cancellation a total nightmare, and one of the biggest fish of all, Amazon.
Amazon was forced into a massive $2.5 billion settlement over its manipulative Amazon Prime sign-up and cancellation processes. The FTC straight up said they used dark patterns to trick consumers into enrolling. This wasn't just some slap on the wrist, it was a loud and clear signal that the era of profiting from deception is facing a real threat.
So, after all of this, the deceptive designs, the psychological tricks, the regulatory battles, we end up right back where we started, with you and with your credit card statement. Because the most powerful tool against all these practices isn't a regulator, it's an informed consumer. It's you.
You know the playbook now. You know they make signing up seamless and canceling a total pain. You know they use confusing language to exploit your brain's natural tendencies. And above all, you know they are betting. They are banking on the fact that you're just not paying attention.
And this right here is the most empowering part of this whole story. A huge experiment with over 2 million newspaper readers found that when people are simply aware of how these auto-renewal traps work, they are far less likely to sign up in the first place. Awareness is the antidote. Just knowing the game is the first step to refusing to play.
So, I'm going to ask you again. Think about that number you came up with at the beginning. Is it still the same? Or do you have this sneaking suspicion now that there might be a few charges, a few services, a few digital ghosts hiding in your bank statements? They have built an entire system that profits when you forget. The only question left is, will you let them?